Magandang gabi. Ako po si Trixie Cruz-Angeles. Paki-check na lang po kung may audio tayo. Hi. Dali lang ha. Check ko lang yung sharing. Alright. Magandang gabi sa ating lahat. Mag-good evening lang po ako kay Vlo Simply, Jose Dianela, Ma'am Imelda Baluyot, Lady Punk, Giselle, Marius Aurelius, Nelson Recana, Melody Jade Kilana, Maria Cecilia Chongson, Jen Chen, Sernan Ben Gallardo Canoy, Far Ida Otsoko, Ma'am Janet Ikeda, Sir Bobby Fajardo. Hi Sir Bobby, thank you for the Chinese food. Ma'am Lea Portillo, Luz Papa, Bangers Ale, Christopher Barton, Ella Micha Miki, Checks and Lines, Dennis Gabaka Lubinso. Ayun, and then, andyan na sina Sir Ian, Going Out Geek by Ian, Chalesna Abelia, JV, Rio Falco, Cynthia David, Edwin Asprek, Wesley Guillermo, Jebri Quinto, Bong Perlado, Jadis, Juna Mangkada, Menchin Leaflet. Hi, magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Actually, today is Ask Me Friday. Kasi we came from out of town. Galing po kami Tarlac, so I didn't have time to prepare some things for yung mga slides for today. But sige, may mga nagtutroll kasi sa wall. Nagsasabi na ayan yung sinasabi natin, si former commissioner filed doon na issuean daw ng warrant of arrest. Actually mali yun, may case nga final ni Senator Ping Lacson. I understand, I'm not sure. Okay, I understand that this was a matter referred to by Senator Ping Lacson, regarding alleged smuggling of rice. Hindi po na-issue ng warrant of arrest ngayon si former commissioner filed on. What he questioned before the Sandigan Bayan the validity of the warrant. In other words, ang kini-question niya yung existence ng probable cause dun sa kanyang kaso. So beyond that, we cannot argue, we cannot discuss the merits of the case kasi nga, as of now, it would be sub judice because the Sandigan Bayan has already acquired jurisdiction over the subject matter. Kasi nakapag-issue sila ng, maybe not, but at any rate, it would be best na we don't comment on the merits of the case. Gayunpaman, hindi po siya na-issuean ng warrant of arrest. In-uphold ng Sandigan Bayan yung warrant because they upheld the findings at preliminary investigation nung facts ng pursuant to the case. In other words, may probable cause. Does this mean he is guilty? No, of course not. That's what the trial is for. So, if gusto ng kabilang parlor na sabihin na, itong taong to, that he's really bad and we shouldn't be holding him up as an example of how the Senate badly treated him, mali po yun. Kasi wala pa namang finding of guilt. That's precisely what the trial is for. So, hindi niyo po kami kayang i-troll tungkol dyan. Okay, magandang gabi dun sa mga bagong dating. Nasaan na ba si tinatanong ni Gerald Ramil, dinalaw ko ba daw si Josh Aquino? Kayo naman. Grabe naman. Wala naman kaming kakilalang mga Aquino na personal. Si Christian Anora nag-hi, sabi niya, your fan from Davao, wala po kayo sa Karambola kanina. Kaya nga po nagla-live tayo. Actually, akala ko Saturday ngayon kasi hindi ako nagkarambola. So, medyo nalito talaga ako. Nagkamali tuloy ako ng posting. So, let me check kung ano yung mga comments dun kanina. Dun sa alright. Let me check yung mga, kasi wala pa kayong mga questions. Ito, tinatanong ni Max Rayu Blunt, Dick's posting of information of some private citizens on social media is a violation of our privacy law, right? Ang sinasabi niya is the Data Privacy Act. Okay, it depends, no? If the nature kasi of the information should be public, although I understand sa LTO, you can't just ask for this information. But dahil Senate sila, yun, nilabas nila. Is it a violation of the right to privacy? Well, I'm not sure kasi kung violation siya ng Data Privacy Act. It's for me too close to call. If ever it's a violation of the Data Privacy Act, yung mga may hawak ng impormasyon na yun, ang magiging liable para dun sa paglalabas ng impormasyon na yon. Sabi ni Benedict, Paul, Polistiko, pa-shout out naman. Okay. Hi! Diba, pag sinasabi ninyong shoutout, anong dapat kong gawin? Yung actual sigaw or I just have to mention your name? Sabi ni Ian, nasilip yung terms ni Gordon sa Red Cross. May limit po ba talaga yung terms at re-election niya? Kasi parang ang tagal na niya sa RC. Parang forever chairman siya. Yes, I understand that based on the internal rules, wala yan sa batas internal rules, ang chairmanship has a term of about 2 years. Tapos you can be re-elected for another terms for a total of 4 years. So, walang walang further data for that. So ang theory ni Congressman Marcoleta, and we agree with his theory, is that hanggang 4 years lang dapat si Senator Gordon. So actually somebody can file a case for kuwaranto or something like that, na para questionin his right to hold that office. Meron din nagtanong earlier. Meron nagtatanong tungkol sa SEC. Hindi ko na mahanap yung question. But may nagtatanong si Ma'am Josephine Quinto Luis to. Sabi niya, what's your comment on Gordon's expose on the owners of Farmally buying luxury vehicles in 2020 to 2021? Okay. I have gotten some information that these were not bought by the executives of Farmally directly, no? Hindi sila yung they went shopping tapos bumili ng mga vehicles. Hindi ko kasi pwedeng i-preempt yung spokes nila, but I understand that these were bought initially by somebody else. In other words, hindi nila binili yan ng brand new. So there are more details, but I have no I have no permission to give out those details, but it is completely explainable. For example, ang information lang na hinahawakan ng Senado as of now is that these vehicles are registered to some executives of Farmally, but they don't know how much these executives actually bought these cars. Ang nakalagay lang doon is estimated value, let's say 13 million and so on. Now, if you buy these cars brand new, it's possible na ganun nga yung presyo. But that doesn't mean that these people bought it at those amounts and if they are still owners of those cars. Kasi kapag ikaw ay magbabuy and sell din, yung informal lang, bumili ka ng kotse with the intention of reselling it, then most likely you will still be the registered owner until baguhin nung bumili yung registration niyan. So that doesn't mean that these people had acquired outrageously priced cars. Ang nangyayari dito is guilt based on very little information. So magre-release ng information itong, let's say, sina Senator Gordon or some of the senators, at sasabihin nila, ito registered owner of luxury vehicles. pero they don't know yet. Hindi nila alam paano na-acquire yun. Bigay ba yun? Diba? Or magkano nila binili? Binili ba nila ng brand new o second hand? Kung second hand, ganun pa rin ba yung magiging buying price? Number 3, do they still hold these cars? Or did they buy it kasi nakita nilang mura, so ni-resell nila later on at with the marked up profit? Diba? So, dun sa mga ganyan, what the senators are counting on is that magpapass judgment na tayo dun sa mga family executives based on very, very little information. Wag po tayong magpapadala kasi, di ba, kulang na kulang yung impormasyon na yan. Tapos sensationalized na sensationalized. May mga naka-picture pa ng mga sasakyan, di ba? Oh my gosh, they own like these cars. Ganyan. Really? Do they? Are they still holding it? They may be registered, but it's possible to present a deed of sale kung binenta yan later on, and so on. Eto nga sabi ni Sean Bacara, and I agree with him, ano naman po pakialaman natin doon, private company naman. Why should they be enraged? Di naman po government official yung mga yon, di ba? I agree, di ba? Pero it's possible gagawa sila ng kwento na, ang babata pa ng mga to. Bagong-bago yung yung kanilang company. Tapos ganyan na sila kayaman, meron na silang hawak na ganitong mga kotse. But you're right. Unang-una, kung legit naman yung pagka-earn nila ng pera, so what if they have nice cars? Tama ka dun. Diba? So, that's what they're counting on. Ang gusto na and ang nakakainis dyan is always the presumption na madadala na tayo sa kanila. Na susunod na tayo na, oo nga, bakit ganyan yung mga sasakyan nila? When in fact, first of all, it's not illegal to own those cars. Diba? Second, hindi pa nila alam how much they actually bought these cars. And third, they don't know kung baka binay and sell lang yan. Diba? Or, even worse, kung maganda yung kotse nitong mga to, bakit? Tinakaw ba yan? Registered as carnap ba itong mga to? Sobra naman doon. Parang kumbaga, naghahanap na lang sila ng pang dagdag sa apoy, pang sunog dito sa mga family executives, as if they are supposed to be made to suffer for some unstated crime. Walang crime. Bakit ganyan sila? Eto, CJM says, elementary pa lang ako, nagkokolekta na po ang Red Cross ng 5 or 10 pesos from public schools, both pupils and teachers. Yes, I understand. They do that. GV says, how can agencies untouchable to the president be kept clean? What legal actions can be done to keep them from being allegedly corrupt? There's still the ombudsman po. Diba? Meron pa rin yan. The problem is, the 1987 Constitution makes these people removable only by impeachment, which means matatanggal lang sila sa pwesto for things like high crimes, treason, ganyan. Deliberate yon. Talagang sinadya natin na hindi maging ganong kadali magtanggal ng mga ganitong opisyal. But, does not mean na immune sila. Kasi kukunti lang naman talaga yung immune from suit. So, you can file cases against them and in fact, they can be jailed. Pero removed from office, iba yun. Yun yung impeachment. Ito, Pre-Os says, these guys could have been born na mayaman talaga kaya meron silang luxury cars. Kay Timones says, as an online seller and travel agent, I find it insulting whenever Gordon calls family mga ahente lang to. Like it's a bad thing. If he doesn't want government to deal with third-party agents, then why not pass a law on it? Ma'am Kay, thank you very much. That's an excellent comment. Tama yun, nakaka-insulto. Bakit? Illegal ba maging ahente? Illegal ba mag-buy and sell? Diba? Illegal ba mag-middleman? Wala. In fact, the law takes that into consideration, kaya nga may mga may mga requirements kung ikaw ay middleman and so on. Sabi ni Edgar Toledo, appointed ba si Gordon sa Red Cross? Well, ini-elect yan ng board, yung chairman. So they have a board. Unfortunately, according to yung pagtingin ko ng mga members of the board, kadamihan sa kanila ay kaalyado o associates ni Senator Gordon. So, it will be difficult really to remove him from the board. Kailangan, yun nga, the audit will indicate whether or not both the board or the chairman have acted anomalously. Aguason says, dati parang halos hugasan ang tumatakbo pa lang ng senador si Dick. Tapos ngayon parang nag-iba ang ihip ng hangin. Krapo talaga. Ay. Ito sabi ni Victor Tadeo, mayaman daw talaga. Sabi ni well, yes, alam ko yung isa doon. We know that he's associated or he is family to some very rich people. But yeah, you're right. Totoo yan. Sabi ni Marlon Bakla, papasok po ba sa cyber libel yung ginawa ni Hontiveros pagkuha ng photograph and using it in the Senate hearing, especially lumalabas perjured documents yung ibang documents, yet inalaw pa rin sa hearing. Unfortunately, like I said, pagka sa Senate investigation or even sa mga privileged speeches ng mga senador, they are immune from suit for things that they communicate. So, yung mga libel suits and so on, meron silang immunity from suit. So, mahihirapan talaga. Can they be sued for damages? May immunity nga eh. So, yung mga dyan, ang mga nag-perjure ng sarili nila, yung mga nagsinungaling under oath, yun po ang magiging liable. May mga ispongklo nga po may paiyak-iyak tapos susulsulan pa ng iba. Ano po yun? Hindi ko naintindihan yung comment. Ulit na yan. Daming ulit. It's hard to do business, sabi ni Prios, with the government because no matter how you do it legally, pwede ka magamit sa mga ganyang klase ng political agenda ng opposition. Yun nga masama yan This is bad for business. Yung mga sinunod mo na nga lahat ng mga requirements ng batas pagkatapos kahit paano, somehow you're made to feel as though you did something wrong. Sabi ni Ma'am Babes, talagang dapat audit ang Red Cross para malaman kung yung mga kaalyado ni Gordon corrupt rin. Bobby Fajardo says, Sir Bobby, hi. Gordon should be worried if some people file a case if they indeed did not extend senior citizen discount on RT-PCR tests that they conducted. I think that would be Attorney Larry Gadon. I understand that he might be working on that. Mark Bescabe says, possible po ma-terminate ang Senate hearing kasi hindi na pang Blue Ribbon Committee ang agenda. Nakafocus na mga old posturing senators sa private company and Chinese to Chinese way of business. And Gordon violated the Data Privacy Act sa pag-expose ng mga assets ng mga executives ng family-like cars. I'm not sure about whether or not they actually violated the Data Privacy Act, Hindi pa tayo sure about that because routinely, law enforcers can access that information kasi may mga instances na kailangan malaman kung yung mga ownership ng kotse because they might be involved in a crime. So, let's see how they were able to get it. The manner of getting the information is also significant. Bakit po gano'n ang mga senador magtanong? Nagtatanong pa lang, hinuhusgahan na agad ang tinatanong. I agree. But that isn't something that senators do. It's something certain people do. Kumbaga, nasa tao po yan. Okay, let's take on the question of, can we say, sabi ni Teodoro Tioson, na na-abuse ng ibang senador ang kapangyarihan nila sa pag-iimbestiga nila sa Senado? Even if we say that they did, okay, assuming that they did, we cannot hold them liable for it. That's why the power of the vote is important. The only way we can control their behavior is to not vote for them. Stephen Benitez asks, pwede ba yon na ang dinodonate sa bloodletting sa Red Cross binabayaran ng tao? Legal ba ito? Okay. For NGOs, they're allowed to make a profit. Actually, although this is, kumbaga, how do you call this? Parang unethical, make a profit out of selling blood. Pero, that's why importante yung audit. Na pwede silang sumingil for the administrative costs. Halimbawa, yung storage niyan, tapos yung storage management niyan, things like blood typing, screening, and so on, at saka matching to who is going to get the blood. So, this requires labor, it requires electricity, the refrigeration is expensive, you pay people to manage your stocks, and so on. So, hindi pwedeng walang cost yan. Hindi, it would be improbable to ask for it na libre siya. Pero, ang tanong is, yung amount na binabayad ba para sa dugo ay tama? Excuse me. Or are they overcharging? And the only way we can see if they're doing that is by an audit. Ay. Tinanong ni Jig Ortega, nagbabayad ba ng tax ang PRC? Base sa kanilang batas, wala pong tax of any sort ang PRC. Rain Cloud says, bakit parang walang sumasalag na kaalyado ng presidente sa Senado at sa mga gabinete o mga political allies niya? Puro mga vloggers lang karamihan. That's an interesting point. The president actually spoke up for Michael Yang and even for family kasi sabi niya, nagtitigosyo yung mga yan. Siyempre, they'll make a profit out of it. Diba? It's not illegal. Pero it looks like, and that's why I believe na matalino din yung presidente natin, nung dinidefend niya, mas nadidiinan tuloy yung mga taong dinefend niya. So he stopped. In fact, parang kulang na lang ilaglag niya yung family. Sinasabi niya na, wala akong pakialam kung ano mangyayari sa kanila, kung anong gawin mo sa kanila. Medyo extremes yung mga reaction ng presidente, but I understand what he's doing. He's distancing himself from these people, not defending them kasi mas lalong nagmumukha silang kasangkot. So, and since they're strangers to each other, the president is not obligated to defend them. Now, as to the others, ganito, for example, can we expect Senator Bongo to defend Michael Yang and Yusek Lau, former Yusek Lau or family executives? Kung walang connection si Senator Bongo dito sa mga to, then he's not obligated to defend them, di ba? Furthermore, di ba may mga attempts na i-link talaga si Senator Bongo dito. So, speaking to defend these people might be working again, will likely work against him. So, kung aware sila dun sa mga kritisismo sa labas, iwas na lang sila kaya hindi sila nag-defend. But I understand yung concern ninyo. Kaya nga, natin, we're calling it the way we see it. Na parang kawawa naman tong mga to, di ba? Nagninegosyo sila eh. Hindi illegal na kumita. Di ba? Hindi nga illegal na kumita ng malaki basta nag-deliver kayo dun sa gobyerno, dun sa tamang presyo. At kung in-approve naman yung presyo na yon, ano yung issue? Hanggang ngayon, hindi pa rin nasasabi ng Senado yung hindi nila mabasag yung basic logic dito. The logic is, ito ang kinailangan, nagpa-accredit sila ng mga tao na magdi-deliver, tinesting pa nila yung capacity to deliver, nag-deliver, nagbayad. So, ano yung issue doon? Up to now, nakikita natin hindi tineterminate yung hearings kasi ang tingin ko kulang pa, wala silang ebidensya na maipakita. Ngayon, naaalala ko dahil binring up nga yung kaso ni former Commissioner Feldon na minsan, di ba, nagre-recommend for prosecution yung Senado or even yung Congress. Pero, ano yung basihan nun? Hindi naman sila yung nagde-determine kung ano yung amount of evidence that is required to file a case. Sa piskalya po yun or sa ombudsman, i-determine yun with appeals to the court or or you can ask the court to rule on the probable cause later on. So, ang tanong, bakit yung iba recommended for prosecution, bakit yung iba hindi? Yan yung yan yung dapat tinitingnan din natin. Marius Aurelius says, ano po masabi nyo sa sinabi ni Dracula Gordon na di daw pang presidente ang action ni Presidente Duterte? Mas importante ba yun kaysa sa nagawa niya sa bayan? I agree with you. Kumbaga, para sa atin, kasi ang magdedetermine naman ng fitness for office, as long as may continue pa rin, may qualification si Pangulo to be president, and he has none of the disqualifications, at wala naman siyang ginagawa na impeachable acts, ano kung bardagulan talaga yung salita niya, ano kung sanggano yung salita niya, ano kung whatever, diba? Even if he's rude, is that a crime? Diba? He's immune from suit. You can't even file an administrative case against him for improper conduct because, like I said, while he's still president, he's immune. So, yung ginagawa nila, yung mga sinasabi, like sinabi ni Senator Gordon, cheap politician, mga ganyan. Ay nako, sticks and stones lang yan. As long as walang ginagawa ang Pangulo that violates the law, then bakit yung mga yun lang ang kaya nilang batikusin, things that are not even illegal. Sabi ni Miguel Payun Tuy, second that, doing business is expensive. The senators are just sour, they didn't get the cut. Well, I'm not sure about that. But certainly, why do they keep acting like they're shocked at how much these people earn? Kung illegal yan, sige, masyak tayo. Pero other than that, tamang inggit yun eh. Diba? Nagpapabati si Kiko Rivera sa Rivera family dito doon sa Caloocan North. Kamusta po kayo, Rivera family? Karen Mata says, good evening from Iloilo City. Mas maganda yung mga nangyayari ngayon sa Senado kasi mas namumulat pa ng hustong karamihan kung anong klaseng politiko yung mga trapo. Oo nga now they have revealed themselves they've revealed their personality to us, the kind of people that they are. So ang tanong, do we still waste our votes on some of them? Wag na. Sabi ni Dave, lumabas findings ng COA na walang overprice. Ba't hindi pinaniniwalaan ni Gordon? Pwede ba sila magkaso kay Gordon? Kasi parang ang lumalabas sinungaling ang COA. Like I said, for yung mga Senate investigations, immune from suit po yung ating mga senador. Besides, even if we could file, anong ifa-file natin? Libel? Ang pwede lang mag-file niyan yung injured party. But like I said, dahil sinabi yan during a Senate hearing and Senate investigation, immune from suit po sila. I don't think it's fair, but that's the rule. Sabi ni Popshi, bakit ang ingay-ingay na po, batuhan ng batuhan, ganito po ba demokrasya? Ayoko na, bakit nung bata pa ako, yung mga minister di naman maingay, puro project lang. Senado, ano ba talaga work nila? Well, be careful what we wish for. Ako, I don't mind the noise. Ang ayoko lang yung dayaan. Like yung mga ganyan. And for instance, 'di ba? Parang the rules for legislators, parang masyado silang privileged. Nakikita natin yung reason for the privileges that they exercise. Pero gayon pa man, parang it's so unfair. And I think that's what you're talking about, na parang ang unfair. Tapos ang ingay-ingay. I'm sorry, but really, that's what a free society is about. And that's how change happens. Kahit tayo, we have to be able to criticize our government when it needs to be criticized. Ang nakikita mo kasi are the politicians who are criticizing in aid of their careers. It's not really to do anything good. But that presupposes kasi that we can judge that every utterance on whether it is inherently good or not. There are utterances that are just neutral and so on. And the hardest thing in the world is to determine what is good and what is bad about these utterances. What we can say what we can determine ay dun sa mga pananalita natin ay kung ito ay nakakapanira. So, yung paninirang puri, pinaparusahan yan. May batas para dyan. Yung nakakakos ng damage sa gobyerno, in the sense na false publication and all that, meron yung batas, Article 154 ng Revised Penal Code. Yung mga nakakaapekto sa ating national security, legal din po yan, yung mga batas na yon, such as yung inciting to sedition and inciting to rebellion. But other than that, we're supposed to be allowed to talk kasi that's human nature. Yung kung naghahangad ka o nangangarap ka ng isang lipunan na hindi maingay, di ba? The only silence daw is the silence of the grave. Why? People are naturally noisy. But I understand yung feelings ninyo, tungkol doon. Duterte says, kita ko sa mukha ni Gordon, parang mataas parati dugo niya, natamaan sa mga lumabas sa buhanga ni PRRD. Well, yeah. I thank you kay Ma'am Maria Ortigas for your super chat. Ernesto Pasis Basiles Jr. says, simula na mulat ako, I'm 53 years of age. Ngayon ko lang na-encounter ang pinaka-worst Senate. Well, I think that there are other Senates or other instances where the Senate wasn't exactly, kumbaga it's not exactly a proud moment. Pero tingin ko meron talagang mga ganyan sa kasaysayan natin. I think that what's important is that we learn from it. Ma'am Karen says, di ba in a matter of emergency business, if the supplier can deliver, anong connect nun sa sale if may pending criminal cases? I agree, that's correct. Allowed naman sila pinagbebenta. Di ko talaga magets. Di gumawa sila ng batas na dapat CI muna mga nagbebenta. Sila gumagawa ng batas in aid of legislation kuno. Para silang bulag at di iniintindi ang Bayanihan Act na sila din ang gumawa. I agree. Kasi, excuse me, sorry. You're right, 'di ba? Anong connection? Meron tayong tinatawag na germane to the law or germane to the issue. Dito, ano ang connect? Meron bang requirement tayo na ang mga ito ay may NBI clearance or something? Sabagay, kahit bigyan nila ng NBI clearance, ang sinasabi nila wanted daw sa ibang bansa. So, makakakuha pa rin ng NBI clearance dito. Yun na nga Tama kayo, ma'am. In fact, that's what the Bayanihan Law was intending to do. Na pwedeng i-waive ng Pangulo ang ibang mga requirements para mabilis yung mga purchases. And in fact, meron nga ganun dun sa ating batas for emergency purchases. Pwedeng negotiated sales, mga ganun na lang. So, yun na nga Ito yung style nila, di ba? May tatanong, halimbawa, do you own a car? Yes, I own a car. What is your car? Let's see, Toyota, ano ba yung high-end na Toyota? Wala akong kaalam-alam sa kotse. Anyway, let's say, high-end Toyota. You have a high-end Toyota. Parang, how can you have a high-end Toyota? Is that germane to the or relevant dun sa ating dun sa hearing? Is it relevant to any law that is being considered? Hindi din 'di ba? So, I agree. Yung connection, anong connect? Parang ang nangyayari diyan, naghahanap lang talaga sila na yung something that they can beat over they can use to beat that over the head ng mga resource persons. Bakit po nagagalit si Senator Gordon sa mga businessman na kumikita samantalang sa PRC sinasabi na need pa rin nila ng profit na ginagawa nila kahit na nakakatanggap sila ng donations? So, good point, di ba? Nagpapabango lang yan at pabibo dahil malapit na eleksyon para sabihing matalino at may ginagawa. Hindi nila alam mulat na majority ng Pilipino sa mga kalokohan nila. Siguro laging kumakain yan sa Jollibee. Siguro. Bida-bida. Ha, no to Dilawan. Alright. Napansin ko din na parang, kinongratulate si Senator Gordon ng fellow senators niya, particularly si Risa Hontiveros, Senator Risa, Senator Kiko, if I'm not mistaken, and Senator Dillon, congratulating Senator Gordon on his bravery to continue daw with the Senate hearings and so on. And sinabi pa ni Senator Gordon, we're all courageous here. Ay nako, kayo-kayo lang ang nag-uusap. Ayun, para sa akin, it's like all of them, ano ba yun, parang old boys club. Para siyang yung mga, ano bang tawag doon? Yung, kayo-kayo lang ang nagko-congratulate. Sabi nga ni Jojo Robles dati, circle jerk. Diba? Kayo-kayo ang nagpupurihan. Kayo-kayo rin lang. Kumbaga, between all of you. There's no real praise there. There's no real achievement there kasi you have your own chuwari-waps, your own barkada saying, uy, ang galing-galing mo. Tapos pag sila naman, ikaw magsasabi, uy, ang galing-galing mo. Pero magaling nga ba talaga kayo? Wala kayong objective criteria for that. Sabi ni Christopher Legarda, good evening, sabi ni Dick, in aid of legislation, according sa COA, not overpriced. Mishandling lang or whatever. Pero si Dick, umabot na sa drugs, sa PIR, sa personal life, or spending ng family staff. Saan yung in aid of legislation doon? Parang lumagpas na si Dick or other senators sa boundary nila. I agree. Why should it matter to them what car these people drive if hindi naman sila nagnakaw nga sa gobyerno? Wala namang overprice. The senators who are conducting this inquiry are showing their unstatesmanlike behavior, revealing their hypocrisy. Yeah. McCoy Maxes, required ba talaga ang mga cabinet members na umattend sa Senate hearing kahit pinagbawal na ni PRRD na umattend sila? Hindi pinagbawal ni PRRD. Kasi dami pang problema lalo na dito sa Cagayan de Oro, tumataas COVID dito. At ang sinasabi ng presidente, magpaalam muna sa kanya bago pumunta dun sa Senate hearing. Hindi naman niya sinabi yung pagbabawal niya, pero parang I think he might in the case of Secretary Duque. Kasi nga, kailangan yung mga to dun sa pag-handle ng pandemya, but at the same time, si Senator Gordon, nakikita niya yung pagkakataon na to bask in the limelight or whatever, or to be in the news, ayaw niyang bitiwan pa yung issue. So, yeah. Nel says, wala pa ring atomic bomb ni Pacquiao. Akala ko dito na makakalabasan. Wala, di nagsasalita si Pacquiao. Or isang damakmak na papel sa mesa niya. I think that Senator Pacquiao will talk only when he has decided na tatakbo nga siya for higher office. Thickwell says, exalting to the hardened manure ang pinagong papuri ni Nadrilon et al. Gordon. Ang nakakairita niyan ay na-report pa. Diba? Anong value naman ng pagko-congratulate nila sa isa't isa? Parang sumali pa kayo dun sa sa inyong circle jerk. Diba? Sinira nila kredibilidad ng Senado. Okay. Naging biased sila for their own interest, puti sa Kamara, naging sila sa mga naging resource person nila sa Senado, winasak nila mga pagkatao ng resource persons nila. Peter Pan says, sino po si Miss Pang at Glenn Tan na binanggit ni PRRD na connected daw kay Dick, watching from Alcacin, KSA. Si Miss Gwendolyn Pang is with the Red Cross. Ngayon, may nakita akong mga news reports saying na nabanggit yung pangalan niya dun sa request for audit ni dating Red Cross Chair Rosa Rosal. So, isa siya dun sa nababanggit tungkol dun sa alleged misuse ng funds ng Red Cross para bumili ng mga ballers for the presidential run of Senator Gordon before, at saka not in 2022 dati, at saka tarpaulins ng Wow Philippines. Happy Torres says, what about the issues of Drilon sa banyo? Ano yun? At sa PRC for Drilon, is there any senators can also question Gordon. They don't do that to each other kasi they're supposed to give respect each member of the Senate and based on, but they won't do that because yung collegial nature ng Senado at saka ng House. Okay, what's the collegial nature? Para makapasa ka ng batas or ng bill ninyo, kailangan binobotohan yan. So, paano iboboto yung pet bills ninyo kung wala kang kakampi, wala kang no matter how meritorious your bill is, you still need to get people to vote for your bill. And so, suyuan yan. You exchange favors and so on. So, dahil dun sa collegial nature na yan, hindi sila pwedeng they can't attack each other or they should not. Okay. Thank you kay Jake Haganas for your super sticker. Why does Loke keep entertaining Rappler? It's very obvious that they are spreading fake news. It would be prudent to just ignore them. You answer them or not, they'll still publish fake news. Well, di ba, the last time, nung hindi siya pinapayagan umattend ng Malacanang press corps, sandamakmak din ng batikos. But you're right, no matter what they do, they will be criticized. Pero it's better to err on the part of opening up the questions to everybody. Ako idadto. Sorry. Saan kaya si Trillanes ngayon? Di ba siya dati ang mainit at maingay sa issue ni Gordon at PRC kasi si PRRD kaya ayaw niya na din ituloy ngayon. Tinatanong ni Gamab, may possibility ba na makulong si PRRD by all these demolition jobs against him? Well, anybody who becomes a government official, there's always that possibility kung hindi ka nag-ingat during the course of your tenure as a government official. So, but right now, hindi makukulong ang presidente for anything that he has done in the country. In other words, if, may immunity siya until the last day of office. Afterwards, pwede siyang kasuhan, criminal or any sort of cases. Pero kung ang tinatanong mo ay yung maaari ba siyang kasuhan para dun sa ina-allege sa International Criminal Court, well, may kaso na siya. Makukulong ba siya? That still remains to be seen kasi from what I understand, hindi pa tapos yung paglagap ng ebidensya in his case. So that's all, the only yun yung announcement na they opened a formal investigation into the Philippine drug war. So it's not yet about mga arrests and all that. Sabi ni Law Simply, maganda na magsalita na lahat laban kay PRRD at nang malaman na ng Pilipino kung sino ang dapat iboto. We need new sets of senators. Yeah. Susi, puyat na puyat po kasi kagabi. Hi kay Ma'am Ilecara Araceli Moser from Basel, Switzerland. Nanonood daw siya. Thank you din, Ma'am Ilecara. Ma'am Suzanne Villafuerte says, sila nagpupurihan ang senador na narcissistic. More than one, di ba? Okay, Ma'am Lilia Papa, maraming salamat po dun sa pinadala ninyo din sa ating super chat. Hindi po ako naiiyak, na antok ako. Okay, last few questions. Pagkakampi ni Gordon, unlimited time, unlimited manifestation, tinatawag pa ni Gordon. Pag si Senator Bongon na limited time, bantay sarado ni Gordon yung 10 minutes, hindi pa nga natatapos si Senator Go, na-cut na ni Gordon, time's up na daw. Kaya dapat tinatandaan natin yung mga ganyan. Buti na lang may internet na at saka may mga YouTube ganyan para nakikita natin, pwede natin i-search at makikita natin uli how they have been acting during their term dito in office and why we should consider whether or not we should vote for them again. Ito, sabi ni Going Abkik, naging husgado na yung Senado. Let's remember na tagagawa at overseeing ng mga batas ang Senado. Agree, tama yan. Di ba? Sabi ni AC, super love ko kayo. God bless. Maui Becker supporters here. Jerry Paul Labadia says, kapag si Dick magpa-bloodletting, sigurado 10 gallons meron yan according to his body language. Uy, grabe kayo. Tinatanong ni Jerome, di ba di naman pwede impeach ang senador? Hindi po impeachable official yan. Paano ba matanggal ang isang senador in a legal way? Well, you file an ethics complaint against them. And pwede rin kasi ang basihan is because, kunwari, makasuhan sila ng criminal case. Pag nakapasa ng probable cause, you can use that to file an administrative case against them for their removal. I wanted also to take this time, one last. Nakakatawa ang Senado pa na yung negative sinasabi kay PRRD, pero ang mga Pinoy todo ang pagtatanggol kay Pangulo. I agree. Fernand Castro says, okay, that's my cat. Look. BLZ down. BLZ. Ay. Distracted na naman ako. Okay. Di naman daw pala overpriced ng PPE. Bakit tinutuloy ni Senator Gordon? Because he's, we have several theories. One of them is that he's on a fishing expedition and he's looking for something to use para ma-discredit si Pangulo. To have more publicity time. That's another theory. And the rest, I'm not sure why he's doing that. Other than yung mga ganyan, interests other than the public interest. Okay, what I wanted also to talk about is how ito, maingay na nga. Alam niyo ba, nung umpisa, nung first 2 or 3 hearings, may mga na DTS talagang die-hard, na na-dishearten sa na, wow, meron pala talagang ganun. Corrupt yung administrasyon. Ano nangyari? And so on. Sabi ko, what do you mean corrupt? Ano yung sinasabi ninyo? Why are you saying that? Sabi na, kasi, hindi naman pala qualified. Sabi ko, parang hindi qualified? May Bayanihan Act, pwedeng i-waive yung ibang mga qualifications. Bakit ganun? May same-day delivery. Sabi ko, bakit nagagalit kayo sa same-day delivery? 1, it was a test for delivery, and 2, the capability to deliver. Para yan, kahit na waiving requirement to show things like track record and so on, na-testing pa rin sila, and they passed the test. They were able to deliver. Tapos, bakit it looks like something na minamasama? So, ang dami niyang tanong. Then finally, sinabi ko sa kanya, naka-deliver ba? O, naka-deliver naman. Okay? May reklamo ba dun sa quality ng dineliver? Wala naman. Okay? So, what is the crime? Bakit kayo nagagalit? Bakit kayo natatakot na na baka kasiraan ng Pangulo ito? It's not. There's no crime. Hanggang ngayon, iniintay ko pa rin yung tinatawag nilang smoking gun. Wala pa rin. No crime. Ang ginagawa lang mga senador is, you're lying? Yung mga ganyan. I will issue a warrant of arrest for you. Yung bullying lang. And dun sa bullying, dun sila naninira. Pero kung dun sa actual case, the reason they're continuing it is because they don't yet even have enough evidence for that. Beelzebub. Ayaw bumalik. Nandun lang siya sa I'll just show you. Bills. Ay. Beelzy. Hi, come here. Ayaw. Alright. to remember na ang purpose ng mga ganitong activities ng ilang mga politiko natin is para siraan ng presidente. Part of that also, ang punteriya nila dito, it isn't just the president. They're after us. They're after our hearts and minds. Yun talaga yung kailangan nila para iboto sila, or at the very least, para dun sa mga allegedly mandadaya, they will have a semblance of public support for them. 'Di ba? So, 'yun ang habol nila. Habol nila boto natin, habol nila to break up yung mga tinatawag natin, yung grupong tinatawag nating TDS o diehard supporters ng presidente. And then there are also people who don't necessarily identify with TDS but agree with the way that the president has been managing government. Subject of course to a few mistakes, 'di ba? Because the president is human, you can't expect him to be perfect 100% of the time and that he won't be able to, that everything goes without a hitch. Pero, itong Senate hearing really is is intended to break up the DDS, to break our trust in the president, and then start considering other people to vote for. Now, bakit napaka-shrill? Because the president is running for vice president. Don't forget that. Tumatakbo si PRRD for vice president. It isn't just his ability to recommend who we are going to vote for. It's also the fact that he intends to run for another term. So, kailangan siraan siya because that's also part of the game sa eleksyon. Siraan yan para hindi maboto yung taong katunggali mo o yung tao na kasama dun sa contest mo. Natatakot ang mga taga-kabilang parlor, simpleng interview lang kay BBM, binatikos na nila. Ang dami kasing views ng interview ni Tony, triggered sila. Stress na si Gordon, no Philippine Red Cross annual financial report since 2016. Anomaly in PRC according to Rosa Rosal, who is Gwen Pang to Gordon, who is Glenn Tan to Gordon, who is Asher to Drug Lord Cops Kalawag to Gordon. Oo nga eh. Jade Kevin Santos, thank you for your super chat. Pang Kowloon House Siopaw and Siomay. Masarap yung siopay and siomay nila, lalo na pag may chili sauce. Oo nga eh. Naisha, Alison Panganiban says, mahihirapan siraan si Presidente Duterte dahil sa daming pagpabagong ginawa ni PRRD sa Pilipinas. Yes. But the other thing that might be dangerous for us is makampante tayo. Sabihin na yung mga things like, ay wala yung ICC na yan, hindi naman paprotektahan si Presidente ng DDS. Really? Diba? Yung mga ganyan, huwag kampante guys. Huwag kampante because hindi tumitigil yung kabila. Tignan mo, sa walang humpay na tuloy-tuloy na Senate hearings, may mga ilan akong nakausap who are convinced that something wrong had happened. Until you tell them, look, there's no crime. Doon na lang sila parang natatauhan. Kasi tuloy-tuloy yung mga reactions ng presidente, ng mga senators, kahit anong sagutin ng mga resource persons, parang ang sama-sama nila, di ba? Yung mga kulang na lang sa tanongin na, where have you been? I went to the bathroom, sir. How dare you go to the bathroom? Yung mga ganyan. Kulang na lang. Sabi ni Kinilaw, aral din sa atin ang nangyayari ngayon sa Senado. Kailangan natin na piliin ng tama ang mga susunod na senador. Wala nang tapos sa 2022. Correct. McCoy says, I saw the post of Senator Gordon about luxury cars na binili ng pharmacy pero kasama ang personal details like address. Hindi po ba yan against the Data Privacy Act? Well, yung address, na medyo delikado yan. May interview kay Attorney Kapunan. Nagsasubmit daw sila sa OP. Totoo po kaya ito? Well, then they have to show proof of that na merong mga na-receive na financial statements. Madali pong patunayan yan. So, if they sent by email, mapapakita nila yung email na na-receive. If they sent by registered mail, may return card yan. If they sent by fax and so on, by messenger, so may mga receiving copies sila. So, they have to prove that. Sabi ni Cornelio, hintayin natin pag nagkaroon ng kaso sa ombudsman ang mga politiko kasi dinadamay nila sa paninira ang deputy ombudsman ngayon. Ano kaya mangyayari sa kanila? You're right, no? Abangan lang sila. Tinatanong ni Joel Balorio, maaari bang tanggihan na maging isang resource person sa Senado? Hindi po, subpoena yan eh. So pag hindi ka sumunod dun sa summons, sa subpoena pinapadala nila, then they can actually cite you in contempt and put you in jail. Remember that these are elections, ha? Tandaan din natin yun. We have to also avoid, tayo among ourselves, na maging kampante. Ito sinasabi ni Wancho, hindi talaga pwede maging kampante, sunod-sunod na banat sa administrasyon ngayon. Oo, I agree. But even more, hindi tayo dapat nagbibirahan against each other. So, if we're on the same side, we should all remain on the same side. Huwag tayong magsiraan. How can we guard against yung mga siraan na yan? Avoid na natin yung things like regionalism. Kung DDS kang taga Manila at may kausap kang DDS na taga, let's say, Davao, kailangan bang mag-bring up ng terms like Imperial Manila yan? Kasi ang daming opportunity sa Manila and so on and so on. Samantalang, ang kailangan natin is a solid vote. Why create divisions among ourselves? Diba? Importante yan. I-avoid na natin. Pati yung mga I'm very concerned na merong mga pro-BBM na nangaaway ng mga followers ni Presidente. Huwag naman po ganyan. We're still on the same side. Diba? Until umabot dun sa point na mag-file na ng certificates of candidacy and they are running against each other, then dun na lang tayo mag-engage dun sa BBM camp and then DDS camp. But right now, there are no camps. Diba? Well, let's avoid all of that. Sabi ni John Mackey, can you answer back, sarcasm, to the Blue Ribbon Committee, especially when they are rude? Well, yes, you can try. But, pag napikon naman ang mga senador sa'yo, ay ko-contempt ka rin. So, the rule is 1, wag kampante. 2, we solidify ourselves. Hang together. Because, di ba, ang dali-dali natin dayain kapag hindi tayo nagkakaisa. Now, another thing, merong isang galit na galit sa akin kasi parang binabaliwala ko daw ang Smartmatic. No! Ang ayoko po, lalong-lalo na dun sa wall ng Luminous, ay yung mga magsasabing baliwala yung eleksyon na yan kasi may Smartmatic. Unang-una, hindi po lahat ng kandidato o lahat ng posisyon ay na-open sa Smartmatic. It really depends on the candidate. Okay. Number 2, nagkaroon ng may Smartmatic na nung naipanalo natin si Duterte. And the theory prevailing at the time was that yung isa sa mga opponents niya gumamit talaga ng Smartmatic. Pero dahil sa dami ng mga boto ni PRRD, he still won. So what does that say? What it says to us is that Smartmatic can be beaten. Diba? And we shouldn't make that a basis for not voting. Kasi pag hindi tayo bumoto, isuko na natin yung bansa dun sa mga dilaw. By discouraging people, by harping on Smartmatic, there's some people who don't want to vote anymore. What we want is for people to vote. Diba? Lalong-lalo na tayo yung magkakasama. We don't discourage each other from voting. Because if we do, then ang mga pupunta dun sa presinto ay yung mga kalaban natin. So they can even legitimately make a win for their candidate. Tinatanong ni Carla Bel Garcia kung final na ba daw yung statement ni Mayora Inday. Well, first of all, I have no personal knowledge kung ano yung intentions niya. But, we can read her statement. Kulit ng pusa ko. Her statement is that nag-usap na sila ni PRRD at hindi pwedeng magsabay sila in a national position. Diba? Pareho silang tatakbo national position. Hindi maganda daw yun. Well, or at least, ang usapan nila is isa lang. And since nag-declare si Presidente that he's running for the vice presidency, then withdraw siya. Now, if it so happens na bago mag-filing ng candidacy, sabihin ni Presidente, ay hindi na ako tatakbo. In which case, tatakbo si Mayor Sara. Okay? Or it is possible na makonsider na ni Mayor Sara ang pagtakbo. Kasi the condition was, isa lang sa kanila. So, hindi rin natin pwede sabihin na final yung sinasabi ni Mayor Inday kasi titignan pa natin kung itutuloy ni Pangulo yung intensyon niya na tumakbo bilang vice-presidente. Then, hindi pala ako kausap. May chance po ba na tumakbo ka sa Senate? Probably, no. Tanong mo kung may chance probably not. Well, if you look at, ganito, with absolute certainty, I can say I am not running for office in 2022. Masaya naman tayo sa ganito, di ba? I don't really like kumbaga, like Mayor Sara, running for office will require intense preparation. It's not a kind of decision that you make something like 2 or 3 a month even before the filing of certificates of candidacy. Kasi mag-prepare ka ng funding mo, magla-line up ka ng sponsors mo, mag-create ka ng platform, titignan mo kung meron kang network or meron kang structure or party that will help you to run. So, with absolute certainty, I can say that I am not running right now. Will I run in the future? What I can say is I don't really want to. Pag hiningan po ako ng tulong, hindi ko naman i-deny yan sa kahit sinong gobyerno na humingi ng tulong sa akin. But does that require running for office or occupying a position? Pwede naman pwede naman oh my goodness. Pwede naman kasing magserbisyo sa gobyerno nang hindi kailangan nag-occupy ng posisyon. Hindi naman tayo yung type na kailangan i-appoint ka o maging elected official ka para tumulong, di ba? Hindi kailangan yan. Sabi ni Voice with Love Vlog, nagpadala po siya. Maraming salamat dun sa super chat. Sabi niya, good evening. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. We love you always. Uy, maraming salamat. Ito, maganda yung sinasabi ni Vicente Fernandez. Sinasabi niya is meaning the politicians, should inform us of their platform. Instead, they're focusing their energies on fault-finding. I agree. Kasi ano yung magiging policies natin? Kung tatakbo sila sa Senado, let's say, ano yung magiging bills ninyo? Diba? Yun na po ba yan? May nagagalit sa akin. Hindi. Pusa yan. Hindi siya nagwawala. He knocked over something. Ayan na, pabalik na siya. Bills. Hi. He's new nag-e-explore pa siya So, sabi ni Peter Pan, you are always being vocal, being pro-Duterte and against sa kabilang parlor. Wala po ba kayong natatanggap na pananakot o warning sa kabilang parlor? Hindi, pero araw-araw binabalahura, iniinsulto, pangit daw ako, masamang tao, bad reputation, and so on, na walang kumpay araw-araw po yan. After a while, ang mali naman po kasi nila doon is, since they keep harping on it almost every day, it doesn't bother me anymore. Diba? Pero yung death threats or so, hindi po. When I was, in the early years of my practice, Vils, really, seriously, what are you doing? Sorry. Stop thinking. Okay. In the early years of my law practice, one of my first cases, may death threats na kagad So, but the general rule is, pag somebody threatens you, if somebody is out to get you, they won't bother to send you a warning, diba? Eto, sabi ni Fermin, what if PRRD will run for senator? Bakit hindi pa rin ba tatakbo si Sara for president or vice? Sigurado PRRD will be the Senate president. Ang usapan nila is national position. And I don't think the president ever considered running for the Senate. Tayo lang yung nagsasuggest nun. And it's a suggestion. I don't know if the president will take that seriously. But right now, what he's bent on doing is running for vice president. And seriously, wait, my cat. What are you doing there? Wait. Yes. Out of my cauldron. Okay. I have the world's weirdest cat. Okay. Pills. Seriously. Doge Chim says, you're correct about pushing a Sara presidency primarily to protect PRRD from any unjust actions by the Dilyawan through the ICC. Okay. That's why, the other thing is, I don't like us to be dismissive or anybody to be dismissive about the ICC action. Whether or not, yung parang sinasabi ng mga tao, inutil naman daw ang ICC. Wait, that's not what we're saying. Yung capability for them to arrest the president and so on is not the only thing that we have to look at. The ICC case is like a pressure point. Gagamitin yan ng ibang bansa, 'di ba? Like the US, 'di ba? Ang theory nga ni SAS is that it was the US who moved na gawin ng na magkaroon nga ng ganitong kaso ang pangulo natin, 'di ba? Dati against ang US dun sa sa ICC. With the Biden administration, suddenly they're very friendly, and then coincidentally biglang nakasuhan si presidente. The ICC case is important in that it might create pressure for our country to do something, 'di ba, to prevent, let's say, the president from being taken, and from there's some countries who might say na, submit to the ICC, otherwise hindi kami mag-export sa inyo, hindi kami tutulong, hindi kami they can use that as an excuse, 'di ba? So don't dismiss the ICC case. Doon ako nababagabag, ang daming nagsasabi na walang kwenta naman 'yan. 'Di ba? Yung ICC case. Anong walang kwenta? Magagamit yan na pressure point nga ng ibang bansa. Yes, I have the world's weirdest cat. Okay? So, wag naman po ganyan. Bantayan natin, gagamitin din yan ng mga kabilang parlor para batikusin yung presidente o yung mga alyado sa kanya tungkol dito sa yung mga campaign platforms. Diba? That becomes campaign platform for the opposition na, PRRD must submit. Pagka kami nanalo, we'll make him submit to the jurisdiction at chuchuchu. Ganyan. Alright. Now, there's another, Ito, wait, sabi ni Ma'am Nida, pwede po ba kayo magbigay ng name na dapat namin iboto? Opo, but let's wait for the filing of the certificates of candidacy. In fact, magpapaalam sana ako sa inyo. Importante kasi na makausap natin, and if there is an opportunity, mag-i-interview po tayo ng mga kandidato. Now, I know that, kasi ako, I take my cue from the President, and the President has said, encourage us to vote for non-tapos. But nevertheless, I would like to interview everybody, as many people as possible who are running for office, regardless of whether return of the comeback sila or tuloy-tuloy pa rin, or bago po sila. So, it makes for better information that is out there. Alright? Ngayon, one last topic that I wanted to discuss, and I need us to be very, very careful. Somebody came to my wall and was suggesting a crime. He was saying na magpalabas daw ng fake na shabu at lagyan ng lason. Bakit daw hindi ginagawa yun? Tapos i-distribute daw dun sa mga addict. So, sabi ko, the reason we're not doing that is because it is a crime. Okay? we have to be careful about the things that we say online, or it isn't just because of our accounts that might be taken down. If later on you're under investigation for something, people can look at your Facebook and see the kind of things that you have been espousing. So please do not espouse any crimes to be committed. May iba talaga super dedicated sila to certain ideas that are clearly crimes. In fact, sinabihan ko yung tao that what you are suggesting is a crime against humanity. A targeted murder targeted towards a certain class of people, and you want the government to do it. Make it a policy of the government. So, ang sinasabi niya, it shouldn't be bad because, masama naman yung ginagawa ng mga addict. Doing that, first of all, it violates due process, diba? You don't bring them to court and all that. Paano kung napagkamalan mo lang addict? Paano kung payat lang, diba? And so on. So, we have to be careful about the things that we say online, guys. Please, we will talk about certain things that, and we will clarify why government sometimes doesn't do something because it is illegal. Diba? So, ingat-ingat naman po tayo dun sa mga sinasabi natin. Because among other things, napapahamak yung presidente natin, because people, sometimes when we clamor for extrajudicial solutions to our problems, lalong nadidiin ng presidente. So, please, let's also be safe and take into consideration itong ginagawa natin, even online. Let's not, sponsor or espouse anything that is clearly and patently illegal. In fact, yun nga yung inaakusa nila sa ating presidente. Diba? So, let's not do that. Sabi ni Ma'am Alessandra, nagpadala siya sa super chat. Thank you, stay safe. Wag na po kayong tumakbo. Wala na pong tutulong na mag-explain na gaya ng ginagawa ninyo. Oo, but, ang request ko na lang sa inyo, like and share. Diba? And don't forget to subscribe. Rain says, Kingsman yung plan niya, kill druggies. Nice idea kasi sa movie, ginawa niyang weapon yung drugs to kill users. Yes, I watched the movie. It's a crime. Let's not talk about it like it isn't. Okay, this one is, I keep clarifying this, so I need everybody to remember this and to spread the word. Tinatanong ni June, yung mga nag-iingay ngayon ng mga senador, may mga ads sa TV, hindi ba bawal yan? Early campaign, halatang mga sakim sa kapangyarihan, bantayan dapat ng COMELEC yan, di ba may limit lang ang expenses for election campaigns? Alright, but, it is not yet campaign season and there's no such thing as a premature campaign dito sa Pilipinas. Nag-rule na po ang ating Korte Suprema tungkol doon. So any activity that promotes yourself even before the filing of candidacies is not considered a campaign because you're not yet a candidate. Diba? If you're just thinking about running for office, how will the COMELEC know that you're a candidate? Diba? So, you know that the COMELEC will know you're a candidate when you file your certificate of candidacy. And then, pagka, filing kasi, diba, is this October. Tapos, ang campaign period begins January and March next year. Yung premature campaigning dyan will be anytime before the campaign period kapag nakadeclare ka na ng candidacy mo. So, hindi po yan early campaigning at hindi po pa yan ikikwenta dun sa mga ginastos in an election campaign. Hi kay Ma'am Pinay Miranda. Sir Joel, yes, it's still a crime. Sabi ni Vicente, in case you run, I will campaign hard for you. Thank you very much. I appreciate the thought po. Hindi po sana, I'm actually very flattered that you think that I qualify for that kahit makasalanan tayo. Marami tayong kasalanan. And I thank you very much for your faith in me. But as of right now, no plans Ay, parang politiko na, no? As of right now, hindi pa po. Parang, hindi totoo lang. Hindi totoo yan. Friends lang kami. Yung mga ganon. I asked her to come to Baguio as my friend. As a friend. Diba? Parang ganon na yung mga salita natin. But no. But thank you very much. Allowed lang ang moonlighting sa mga politiko. Malamang walang investigasyon sa Senado kasi bawal talaga. You know what? The Constitution actually only limits lawyers eh. No sitting senator or congressman can appear before any courts or for administrative proceedings. So, ayan, sabi ni Rain, huwag kang mag-alala, maganda ka sa paningin ko. Hindi naman tayo naniniwala dun sa kabilang parlor, huwag mag-alala dun. Ito, sabi ni Jonas, ito yung tics, ang gusto niya sainthood nga daw, pero di siya magsusuot ng dilaw. Bakit? Yun lang bang suot? Diba sackcloth and ashes dapat? Sabi ni R. Lopez, yun ang sinasabi ko, what about those ads na pinapalabas sa GMA ni Senator Lacson and Senator Soto? Hindi pa po kasi campaign, therefore that's not premature campaigning. At hindi pa po, what happened to my cat? Hindi pa po, hindi pa po, not only is it not premature campaigning, ano pa yan, hindi pa po yan ikinikwenta dun sa ginagastos, yung ina-allow na gastos for the campaign. On the mixes, can you please enumerate your top 10 senatorial candidates for guidance? Right now, wala pa po ako nabubuong top 10 kasi iintayin pa po natin yung certificates, yung filing of the certificates of candidacy. So, at that time, then we can start listing our top 10. Pero like the President, we have preferences for those who are first-timers. Pero, tingnan natin kasi mga ini-endorso din ng Presidente, kikilatisin din po natin yung mga yon. Honey Ferrer says, I support politicians that can create a blood agency instead of relying on Red Cross. Oy, meron din pala dun sa DOH where they can get free blood from ordinary citizens to blood donation, but it's costly to patients who need it the most. Oh. So, hindi totoo yan, friends lang kami, sabi ni Anyway, but yeah, you're right. I agree that and ako, somebody who will think up of better funding mechanisms for PhilHealth para lumaganap talaga yung pag-execute natin ng Universal Healthcare Act. Maraming salamat kay Edgar Babon. Sabi ni Dennis, ask ko lang po kung si Senator BBM po ang mananalo at si Mayora Sara. Sa tingin niyo po ba maganda kahihinat na ng Pilipinas ang proud DDS and Marcos loyalist? I think so. Diba? But I have to wait then. Kasi may laro ang presidente na kailangan natin i-consider. Oo, we like the Sara BBM candidacy. Ako talaga, alam niya naman tayo, kaibigan si BBM ng hindi lang ng karambola. He has been such a good senator. He is, even right now, we know that he's going to run for office, and yet he conducts himself in a statesman-like manner. Diba? So, we like BBM. We also adore Mayor Sara. Diba? Tuwan-tuwa nga tayo every time may like, last time sa Karambola, nanood daw siya. Na-shout out tuloy namin ang Mayora at buong Davao. But, yes, for me, I think that's ideal. But I also want to see the President's plans. Kasi after all, Mayor Sara's plans are tied up with her father's. So I want to see, why is the President running as VP? It's not because of the ICC case. We know that. Di siya takot dun. He doesn't, kumbaga, over my dead body, di ba? Yung ganon. Palaban siya. But why is he running for Vice President? He also said no minsan na ayoko kasi maging lame duck, kaya tatakbo ko ng Vice. So, pero, why Vice? Why, what is in his mind? Nobody seems to know, not even his inner circle. There are no leaks about why he intends to do this. And since, it will determine who is going to run on the administration side, hintayin din po natin kung anong i-resolve ng ating Pangulo. Alam niyo naman si Pangulo ang hirap basahin. Di ba? Thank you, Sir Mauro. Thank you so much. Good morning from LA. Thank you for explaining and updating the latest laws of the Philippines. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your appreciation. If natuloy yung PRC audit, pwede bang government donation lang ipakita nila sa audit, pero yung mga private donations hindi? Well, that is the extent of the government audit. Now, if you're asking for a third-party audit of the PRC itself, and it's at the request of the members, iba yon, lahat yon, di ba? Meroser Fernandez says, masaya na si attorney, ganito tayo, no to politics siya. Role niya ay imulat sa atin ang nararapat at maayos na talakayan sa anumang usapin. Dagdag kaalaman lahat ng sinasabi niya, kaya mahal na mahal. Ay, salamat po. Actually, kasi masaya yung ginagawa natin dito. But like I said, kung may pagkakataon na makatulong tayo sa gobyerno at hiningi sa atin yung tulong, wala namang problema, tutulong tayo. Ang sinasabi ko lang is, hindi naman kailangan na tumakbo ka, maging congressman, senador, mayor, whatever, para makatulong. If it comes to the point na kailangan ng ganun, di sige, pero right now, hindi ko pa nakikita na ganun. Diba? Ang daming magagaling Ang daming pwedeng maging congressman, mga senators, and so on. I don't like to close the possibility, but right now, this is what I like to do. Nakikita ko na ang daming kakulangan minsan sa kaalaman at saka hindi naman binibigay ng trad media yung impormasyon. So, it's a space for us to help. Diba? Arlan Havilla says, if magiging senador ka, ano po unang i-file na batas? Hindi ko ako tatakbo na 2022. Meron na tayo mga parang Miss Universe questions. Diba? If you were senator, what was the first bill that you're going to file? The first bill I'm going to file is renaming of the Ninoy Aquino International Airport to the Manila International Airport. I thank you. Pero seryoso yan. Yeah. To be more precise. And last two, isa lang magagawa natin para makatulong yon ay linisin ng Senado para hindi na maulit ang kabalastugan na ginagawa nila. Josh says, I want to see someone running who will work on improving technological infrastructure and system of government. Make the Philippines a smart nation. I agree. Sainthood. Nga, for po si attorney, kulit. Pero go ako kung secretary ng NCCA, chairman po, or NHCP, or even DOT po. We will see. I don't think anybody's interested in putting me in any position, di ba? So, wag po tayong mag-assume. Just because, natutuwa kayo sa akin doesn't necessarily mean that, one, I would be a good official, and two, that anybody would be interested in putting me in there. So, wag tayong mag-ambisyon o mag-ilusyon. Kung hihingi tulong natin, bibigay natin. Di ba? Okay, maraming salamat sa lahat ng let's one last. Posible kayang mag-substitute sila ni Sarah sa last minute upang di makalaban yung mag-file si BBM ng for president. She has to be a member of a national political party for the substitution to be effective. We have 3 weeks remaining before the filing of candidacies. Anything can happen. Huwag muna natin isipin yung mga substitutions. Si Presidente ang master ng mga ganyan. What I want to see is let's wait for to see para lumiwanag sa atin yung plano ni PRRD because he's still right now the only game in town. And yun nga, candidacy ni Mayor Sara will depend on what her father does. So, basahin natin si Presidente. Senator BBM or Citizen BBM is doing very, very well. And then, he's also not saying kung anong position ang itatakbo niya. Nagbabasa din po siya. So, yun ang tutularan natin. Diba? Uy, maraming salamat. Kanina inaantok ako kung kailan gising na ako, patapos na tayo. Maraming salamat sa pagsubaybay. May sutil Saturday po tayo bukas. Sabihin niyo na lang po sa atin kung anong topic natin tomorrow para maaral. Maraming salamat sa lahat ng nagbigay sa ating super chat at super stickers. Pinaligayan niyo na naman ako for the day. Thank you very much. At saka sa lahat ng pumuna, I still have to catch my cat. I don't know where he went. So, maraming salamat everybody. Have a good night and have a great weekend. We will see you tomorrow on Sutil Saturday. Bye!